Clo3d introduction. We're happy to be here and thank you for joining me on this Friday for having an overview about Clo3d, how it works, and where are people using it for? What are people using it for? Sorry, I'm a bit nervous. Um, so Clo3d is the software for specialized in simulating clothes, which is quite niche in the whole 3D industry because there are applications doing characters, there are applications doing like 3D rigid objects, but Clo is designed for mainly dealing with fabrics. And you might also have heard of Marvelous Designer as the M icon here, or I think their new icon is orange with the M. They're from the same company and the interface is 99% the same, I would say, but Marvelous Designer is cheaper and it has less function because it was supposed to be used by digital artists to just do the digital clothing part and then give it to the next step, like to do render and animation and all that things. But Clo is more like a how to say one-side solution. It's like it has everything. It has quite legit rendering engine inside it, so you can do everything within Clo, basically from making the patterns from scratch to rendering image or animation. So Clo is yeah, a bit more powerful, but they are basically the same. They are compatible. And what we will be covering today is first a quick demonstration of me to doing a quick outfit in Clo, maybe I think I can do it in less than 5 minutes, but plus some explanation, maybe 15 minutes. Then we can have an interview of all kinds of applications of Clo happening now with examples of my work and some other people's works. Maybe I change to another view. I hope you can see now we're in Clo. So those who didn't know this app, you can have a general idea of what's happening here. So it has a 3D window of a default avatar. Well, this is what I just did like within minutes, but I'm gonna delete everything now and recreate what you see here from the beginning. So it has a 3D view here, and the right is the 2D view of the 2D patterns. It's quite like how you make clothes in real life, like you cut the paper patterns in 2D and then you assemble them around the avatar and then you sew them together and then you click this magical button, uh, simulate, and then the clothes will like fall on the avatar. So it comes with a library of fabrics and hangers and avatar and garments. We're gonna go for avatar female, and there are like different skin tone, different races. I'm gonna maybe go with this one today. It's like a generic Asian looking avatar on heels. So if you have yeah, if you play with this before, you can like rotate it around. So it's yeah, it's like a generic figure, and you can actually edit it, but we're not gonna do that today. So you also see like a 2D shadow of it in your 2D scene. So now we're gonna create a really quick outfit using this. What am I clicking now? Polygon. So I've been using shortcuts, so I don't actually remember what every button does. So since all clothes are like most of the clothes are symmetric, so you only need to draw half of it and then mirror it to have the full pattern. That's how I usually do it. So you start from this, that's why there's a middle line here. So what I do is usually I do like a straight polygon, straight, how to say, straight lined shape. And then we go to this edit curve. So this part is trying to be the neck color, and this part is trying to be the armhole. Maybe I want it to be a crop top, so it's like shorter, like this. And then you can click on this central line here to unfold it symmetrically to have it mirrored. So we have the front now, and the back is almost the same as the front, so I'm just gonna duplicate it. And the neck part will be less, how to say it, less deep. Sorry, I'm already using the denim. Let's start from the default fabric here, assigned to the white default fabric. And my fan starts shouting, so I also need to shout a bit now. And you can activate, so there are different like options to view, and I'm gonna activate this show arrangement points and assign this back piece to central back like this. And it will help you have this natural curve around the body for later arrangement and sewing to be easier. And you can deactivate it now. And I'm gonna sew them together using this sewing machine tool here, segment sewing. And if you sew one half of it, the other half will do the same because it's symmetric. And also the shoulder. And we're not sewing the armhole because the armhole needs to be a hole. And you just click simulation here. That's the favorite part of mine. And then they just like drape automatically onto the body. So now we have a crop top already, very roughly made, but we are there. Okay, we stop the simulation. And now we want to do a very simple dress. I'm just gonna do it quickly. Also half, only half from the beginning. And we want it to be a bit flared. Is that the word, flared? Like this, like a bit A-line. And mirror it again and duplicate it again as the back. As the back here. Oh, I'm seeing the butt, sorry. And you can arrange your 2D patterns as you like. They're not gonna affect where they are in 3D. And sew the sides together. So you have, oh, maybe it's too low. Move it a bit. So we have something like this. This is like, we did an outfit here. This is just to make you have a, general idea of what's going on. Is it possible to import custom avatar, right? It's possible. Yeah, it's possible. It's possible, but it how to say, it won't come with all these, these things might not appear if you import a custom avatar. I will go to that later in the presentation. Thank you for the question. And now it's with this default fabric, and I just added this denim fabric earlier from the library. So in the library there are many pre-made fabrics. Maybe I go with something else. What is this? I just oh, this is like a furry thing. What is it? The question. Neat. Okay, let's try with this. So we just select all the patterns you just made and assign this fabric to it. And we might want to re-simulate again. So the shape might change a bit because the properties of the fabrics changed. Like it was, it's less flared than before, I think, because maybe this fabric is more stiff in the vertical direction. So we have a red dress now. Maybe I want to be a bit um, experimental and sew, I don't know, the dress to the top. Let's see. Now we have something like that. It's a bit strange for portion wise. You can just like drag it during simulation and you will just apply force to the 3D government. I really like playing with it in this part. Now we have a red dress look, and I think in 3D window, there's like a quality render view. Like this real-time render is already quite legit, but if you want to actually render it out, you can activate this render window and click the interactive render, and it will apply even more, calculated lighting. Does it look better? Maybe depending on what you're looking for. You can also manipulate light here. Maybe a very strong contrast light. Yeah, you can go with like very dark or very bright, depending on what you want. And then once you satisfied with the temporary render, you stop it and like start the real one. And it will be saved to where you ask it to be. So we're not gonna do that now because that just will blow my fan and you won't hear me anymore. But yeah, so basically that's how like your first your first outfit in Clo will be working like this. I'm gonna reshare my deck. So I hope that was not too boring to those of you who didn't really want to clone themselves, just wanna have a general idea, but now you also have an idea of how the software works. And I'm gonna, do you see it full screen? I think it's full screen, but okay. Is there more? Thank you, Anna. So now I'm gonna go to the applications of clothes. So when I started, I actually am not from a fashion background. I didn't know how to do patterns, and I was kind of actually afraid of doing things with my hands because I'm not good at that. So I did like fashion. I did like fashion mainly as a online content, like not necessarily online, like from magazine or from fashion shows. I like watching them, but I not necessarily dressing myself. But I always liked watching it just as something that inspires me. And so when I discovered Clo, I was like, it's perfect for me who's not good, with actually sewing it or wearing it, but I just want it digitally as something that pushed the limit to push the limit of my imagination. So the very first application of Clo for me personally is just to do it as pure digital art. And I did a lot of mermaids somehow because I found it like a good, it's still like a humanoid, but it's not fully conventional, how do you say that? Like I can do it as wild as I want it to be and doesn't need to apply gravity. That's also a good part of digital fashion. Like you can manipulate physics a bit. So I did like different kinds of mermaids, and I also did something like in the outer space. This is for Helsinki Fashion Week 2020. When I actually started uh, doing Clo 2019, so more than 2 years, not too long actually, but I'm doing it every day almost. And I'd say the whole thing is developing so fast. I feel like I'm growing together with this industry actually. And now I see my old works. I can see how it's not well done in many details. Like from this view, you can see the whole outfit is a bit thin. It's like thin like paper. Everything's without thickness. That was something a bit amateur, but that was how I play with like concepts. And then as someone asked earlier, you can also, this is how you can dress something that is not human or not a normal avatar. So I doodled this silly goose one day, and blooming bridges. And my boyfriend goes by that, and he did this goose in 3D for me in Blender, and I imported this in Clo to. I try to dress he or she in swimwear, and I was thinking, how does swimwear work on a goose? Because I need to deconstruct my understanding of a body, and to understand the different shape of torso to know where do I put the fabric, where do I sew. So eventually I did this on the left, and also did a swimming ring. Is that how you call it? So I didn't know how to do the ring actually. So I just sew like two rings, two 2D rings together. And then in Clo, they had this function to, to add force to one side of the fabric. So you add force to the back side of the upper fabric, and you add force to the upper side of the bottom fabric, and it just blows up. It was a function for making puffers. And I think now they have a easier solution to do that, but it was like that. So I applied force, and I realized, oh, that's actually how swimming rings look like in real life. They did have this wrinkles, crinkles like at the edge. So I guess they are actually, if when they were 2D, they are 2D rings. And in Clo, another interesting thing is you can manipulate the fabric. So once I had the base of this goose bikini on the left, I was thinking, why don't I try render it as fur? So you can render something as fur in Clo, but only in the render view. Um, so I rendered this thing, but with a furry material, and it turned out like that on the right, and then I also liked it. It looked almost like haute couture for goose. Yeah, that was fun. And then another application of Clo is to make digital fashion as commercials for physical fashion. This is for actually, let me check the chat. Mm. Have you used Blender for outfit creation before? I didn't. I only did it recently, like my entry for Digital Fashion Week New York. The short fashion film was actually done by both Clo and Blender. So I did the dress space in Clo, and because Clo, all the fabrics you can do in Clo is still realistic, like what fabrics would look like. But I didn't want to do like something that made out of fabric. I wanted to do a dress made out of bubbles. So I did the bubble part in Blender this time. That was like my first try to actually get familiar with Blender, and it was fun. And I think yeah, many other artists in Digital Fashion Week New York this time was also trying to combine Clo with other software, but it was a good start to have your cut in Clo first as the base if you wanna play with the material later. Do you sketch or designs before doing them? Sometimes I do. Sometimes if it's something like just a t-shirt, then I will just start doing it in Clo right away. Okay. So I don't know if you see the animation here smoothly because it's a GIF. It's a bit choppy for me. Maybe it's the internet. I don't know. So Maku is a sustainable fashion label in Berlin. I'm based in Berlin, by the way, so it's 9 p.m. in the evening for me, and it's Friday night. Um, yeah, so on the right is their actual photo shoot of the. This coat is made by the material of diving suit, like those very, how to say, it looks stiff, but it's like smooth and actually very bendy. And they asked me maybe can I do like a short digital series for this collection, just for a social media post. And the left is what I did. Mm, uh, how do I go next? Ah, and this is like a really cool fashion film GCDS did last spring summer collection. They did like a fully digital runway as the launch of their new collection. Maybe we see a bit here. So like everything's digital, the avatars, the whole environment, and I helped like simulate some of the looks, including this one. So that was like a longer workflow. So someone did the avatar, gave it to me, and I someone also did the clothes, and I just do the part where the clothes follow the body in the motion, and then give that back to them, and then they texture it. I don't know if they texture it later or it was already with texture, but I don't know if they had to adjust texture. Um, and then they rendered the whole thing in Unreal Engine. I think it was really cool. They even had like the final designer bow also in 3D. That that kind of got me. Yeah, anyway, you can watch it fully on YouTube. I'm just gonna play a bit here. And another application of Clo is to do digital fashion as early visualization before production. So some fashion house they they already know the design, they will produce it, but they want to see, you know, a really photorealistic visualization of their design before they make up their mind for the details or for them to communicate with the manufacturer better. So I think I lost a page here. Did I? Ah, no, it's here. It's here. So I did this whole collection for independent designer Anyango and Pinga, and she's style is really vibrant and colorful. It's not something I would design, but I was really inspired by her design. So she had all this design done in her head, well, and she gave me you can see the pattern here. They are how to say repeated square patterns. So she gave me all the squares and she drew me all the how she would want every look to be look like, and then I try to imagine what she actually means and make them in 3D. So these are all 3D renders before I see the actual, before we made the actual clothes. The order is a bit off here, and this is what we are really proud of. We asked like, was it 10 different Black women to be our remote model, which means it was like during Corona. So they posed in tight swimsuit at home and they sent me the photo, and then I simulate the virtual clothes on the same pose virtual avatar and then Photoshop these two layers together to be like a half digital, half physical visualization of how the collection would be looking like. And the models' names are credited here. So yeah, everyone really brings a different vibe to the collection. We were like, so we had all the photos of the ladies and we have all the styles like this, and we were thinking which one to assign which one, after the photo was shot. So yeah, it was interesting. And then it's this year the collection was finally produced, and now it's on Shopbop. I'm not like sponsored or anything, just happy for her to finally see the collection on the market. And um, check the chat again. Which kind of workstation is needed to obtain very good quality simulation with a lot of polys? Mm, mm, I was like for my first year of doing Clo, I was just on a MacBook and I didn't feel any difficulty until I got to more complicated clothes. Then I finally realized I had to switch to PC like every other 3D digital artist. They mainly use PC, I think, because Clo doesn't work with the graphic card Apple is working with that well. So you'd better get yourself a PC to work on complicated clothes on Clo. Yeah, thank you. And the the applications here are a bit mixed, like the examples I showed there. Sometimes an example of mixed, like different applications of Clo. So yeah, I did this deck today, so I don't that logical maybe. Sorry. So the next application is to use Clo as sampling support, also for physical fashion house. What does this mean is, when designer have the idea of how the look would look like and they need to do several rounds of sampling to actually try, different pattern cut on the mannequin before they know the exact cut, and then they send that to the fabric. But with Clo, since you saw earlier in Clo when I'm using it, everything is super fast, like compared to doing it in real life. So we can just do that digitally now and help fashion house to cut waste on the sampling process and cut time and waste. Yeah. So this was an indie designer who goes by Franticate on Instagram. We worked together for quite long. We just like really got along. And what he's doing is streetwear, I would say, that has just a spicy touch on your normal wardrobe. So he's not like doing something completely new. So, when he wants to do a jacket, but with this bat wings, the jacket is still a normal jacket. So the fabric knows what kind of jacket he wants, but he just want to add this one element that make it really interesting. So he had all this idea and gave me really rough 3D sketches, 2D sketches, like and words and verbal description. And then I help him to actually visualize that in Clo. So we actually tried this look with denim at the beginning, and it somehow just didn't look good enough. And he said maybe we try leather. And as you can see in Clo, we can just switch fabric really easily on the same base. So I just like assign different material, assign leather to the whole look, and suddenly look more right. So we went with leather, and I'm a bit okay. So these are the details. He wanted like two cuffing pocket on the front. I also did that, and so the wings on the back are actually zippable, so they can hang on the back or go along with the sleeves and the zipper details, etc. So in Clo, it looked like this. In 3D window, it looked like this. I put it on the like a black guy, and on the right you can see the 2D pattern is actually not that complicated. I didn't do it super detailed. And you can have this funky view to assign different color to each piece to make the fabric, to make the factory understand which part is which. So, sorry. So I exported the pattern as a PDF here with all the lengths automatically marked on each piece, and I sent this whole thing. Well, he sent this whole thing to the factory, so the factory can do it exactly like how I did it in Clo. And this is when the jacket came out. I think the fabric is more wrinkled. Is that how you go? But the shape is the same. I would say the shape is actually exactly the same. It's quite cool. Like they, Franticate and this small brand called Supervillain, they launched this whole collection, including this design. So I think we quite happy with this result in the end. So that was how you like without any sampling, just doing it in 3D, and you can help small designers to go straight to production without too much expected error. And the next application of Clo is this one I really love. Some people doing it as a tool to archive historical clothing. Um, this is not nothing to do with me. This is a studio called Superficial Studio. They did like a collection called Virtual Fashion Archive. I think it was a really educational, meaningful initiative because they trying to redo clothes that would otherwise just end up in museum behind the glass or in someone's private collection. They did those clothes in 3D and put them online so people can zoom it in to see the fabric, and they were also in motion so you can feel how the fabric goes. Like it's trying to help the old like good vintage or traditional clothes to reach a wider audience online. I think it's quite meaningful. And this is something I saw today while searching for Clo online. Someone's also doing like a Chinese Hanfu in Clo, and it was on, I think it was on ArtStation. Someone did it just for free download. It's quite generous. So Hanfu is also like something Chinese would wear hundreds of thousands of years ago. But yeah, there is actually a new trend to start wearing this again just in daily life. I know many girls obsessed with this, but um, if you want to restore an old piece exactly, maybe to archive it in 3D is also a good idea, I think. And the last, I think it's the last, is to, like everyone is promoting here in Digital Fashion Week, to wear digital fashion as virtual wearables in metaverse or on your own photo. So when during my era of obsessed with mermaid, I did this golden beaded mermaid dress, and this model Miranda, she was so kind to model it for me, also remotely, like from home. So she posed at home, and then she sent me the picture, and then I Photoshop. Not just Photoshop, like I had to use Clo plus Photoshop to kind of rig the dress onto her, and it looked quite nice because she was even uh, careful, thoughtful enough to even made her hair wet and made like a oceany projection. Everything's matching, and it ended up in Kaltblut, a German magazine. The German? Well, Kaltblut was German, but I don't know if the magazine. Um, yeah. So it ended up as the editorial. And this one is modeled by a young singer based in Japan, Mei Mei. She posed also just with tight clothes and then sent me the picture, and then I helped her to wear my digital nine-tailed fox costume. Um, so she can post it as a example of wearing digital fashion. I think there are also many platforms now out there help you wear digital fashion in this process, or also real time with AR. Um, yeah, like you might have studied earlier today with Digital Fashion Week New York. Um, Many AR tools now also very powerful, but maybe less accurate than doing this manually. But I think they will be more and more accurate in real time. That was my sharing. Thank you so much. I'm a bit nervous now. Yeah, there are so many other applications of Clo and of digital fashion in general. I hope I covered something you didn't know before, and uh, made you inspired. Thank you.